What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, February 27th, 2026, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 12:25 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some very unusual flight activity right now over the US. So we currently have a large number of aerial refuelers off the coast of Atlantic Canada near Newfoundland. You can see here 6 aerial refuelers in this area around Newfoundland, and the only time you'll see this many U.S. aerial refuelers going back and forth to Atlantic Canada is when they're moving stealth bombers or some kind of heavy bombers over the Atlantic. So they usually do a refuel somewhere over Atlantic Canada before they go to Europe or the Middle East. This could also be refueling for more fighter jet squadrons. So we are getting very, very close to an all-out attack on Iran. And right now we have 2 U.S. nuclear war command and control planes that were just scrambled. One took off from Tinker Air Force Base and is heading down to the Gulf to communicate with our submerged nuclear-armed submarines. And then another one took off from STRATCOM headquarters and is also going down towards the Gulf. Now, interestingly as well, we have an aerial refueler looping over Whiteman Air Force Base right now. Okay, and Whiteman is home to our B-2 stealth bombers. So we have a refueler over Whiteman, and then we have half a dozen refuelers for some reason off of Newfoundland, Canada. So guys, get prepared. It looks like the war with Iran is about to begin. It could happen as soon as tonight or sometime this weekend or over the next few days. And we're hearing that Trump is going to make his decision this afternoon by 3 p.m. Eastern Time. He's going to decide if he wants to strike Iran or continue negotiations with Iran. And from everything we've heard yesterday, the negotiations in Geneva were a bust. Basically, the Iranians did not want to agree to any of the U.S. demands. So I don't think Trump is going to continue negotiating. I think this is it. And also we have more U.S. military cargo planes going down to the Middle East this afternoon. They're basically moving equipment nonstop, round the clock, probably 30 to 50 U.S. military cargo planes going down to Middle Eastern bases every 24 hours, which is unprecedented, guys. We have not seen a buildup like this probably in the last 30 years, okay, or maybe even more. This is going to be bigger than the Gulf War. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is Matt Hat Jerky. Guys, if you're a beef jerky lover like myself, you got to try Matt Hat Jerky. This is the best beef jerky I've ever had. I personally met the owner of this company at SHOT Show, and he's actually local to Pennsylvania. This company has an interesting story behind it. He founded this company when he was 11 years old. Yeah, that's right, 11 years old. He's now 19. And he makes gourmet beef jerky, the best jerky I've ever had. He's got over a dozen different flavors, and it's all sourced with U.S. beef, so no foreign beef, no nitrates, and no MSG. So it's all natural American beef jerky. And if you use my promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And you got to go to matthatjerky.com, and I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. That's matthatjerky.com, one word, matthatjerky.com. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off your entire order, and the link and the promo code are in the description down below. And last night we had more U.S. military cargo planes cross over the Atlantic. Here you can see several C-17 Globemasters. A lot of them were taking off from Tacoma, Washington for some reason last night. And then we also had multiple C-5 Galaxies. Two of them left the Oklahoma City area for some reason. And the C-5s are the largest U.S. military cargo planes. So two of them left Oklahoma last night. And then last night, more C-17s going down to the Middle East. We also had a U.S. sub-hunter intensely patrolling the Strait of Hormuz. This is the area where the IRGC has a lot of their island missile bases in the Strait of Hormuz. There's like 5 islands where the IRGC has ballistic missiles, and also they have their naval bases here as well. And U.S. Special Envoys Witkoff and Kushner reported no Iranian flexibility on uranium enrichment or on other core issues at Geneva. They expressed disappointment with Iran's stance and cast doubt on the value of continuing the talks, according to diplomatic sources familiar with the details. Wow. And the U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, sent an email to embassy employees, which was obtained by the New York Times, and he said anyone who wants to leave Israel should do so today. Focus on getting a seat to any place from which you can then continue travel to D.C., but the first priority will be getting expeditiously out of the country. There is no need to panic, but for those desiring to leave, it's important to make plans to depart sooner rather than later. Wow. And the U.S. State Department has approved the departure of non-essential government personnel and their family members from Israel over security concerns. The U.S. Embassy warns that it may also impose sudden travel restrictions on staff in certain areas of Israel, including Jerusalem's Old City and the occupied West Bank. Wow, guys. So this is very serious. For Mike Huckabee to send an email out to tell everyone at the embassy to leave immediately, to do so today, okay? Anyone who wants to leave should do so today. Wow. So, guys, this could happen tonight, and I will be going live 24/7 if necessary when this all kicks off and monitoring the war. And a confidential report from the International Atomic Energy Agency seen by Reuters says that some of Iran's most highly enriched uranium, enriched to up to 60% close to weapons-grade levels, has been stored in an underground section of its nuclear facility in Isfahan. And according to Hebrew Live, Israeli hospitals have been placed on high alert. And Yoav Gallant, the former Israeli Minister of War, said the coming weeks will determine the shape of the Middle East for decades to come. Wow. Okay, so notice what he said here. The coming weeks, not the coming months, the coming weeks will determine the shape of the Middle East for decades to come. And for the past few hours, major global shipping companies have been diverting commercial vessels and tankers away from the Suez Canal due to fears of potential attacks by Yemen's Houthis. Interesting. And the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Iraq, carried out a simulation of emergency evacuations according to the Saudi Al-Hadath news outlet. The outlet also reported that many Americans have departed Iraq via Baghdad International Airport over the past 24 hours. Wow. And France's foreign ministry has advised its citizens against traveling to Israel, Jerusalem, and the West Bank amid the current security developments involving Iran. French nationals already in the area are urged to stay alert, take precautionary measures, and locate the nearest shelters. And the UK says British diplomatic staff have been temporarily withdrawn from its embassy in Tehran. And China's embassy in Israel has urged its citizens in the country to be highly vigilant, strengthen security precautions, and improve their emergency preparedness. And Kazakhstan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs urges its citizens in Iran to leave the country. Canada has called on its citizens to leave Iran if possible, warning that hostilities in the region could resume with little or no warning. So, guys, we have all these countries now telling their citizens to leave the Middle East, to leave Israel, to leave Iran, telling their embassy staffs to leave. This is a big red flag that something is about to happen. And Hebrew Live reported that Israel's hospitals have been placed on high alert. And the deputy mayor of Beersheba in southern Israel has announced that all shelters in the municipality are being opened. Wow. Okay, so they're opening these bomb shelters, guys, in southern Israel. And there's now 14 U.S. aerial refuelers in Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. Wow. And Israeli hospitals are preparing to move patients to underground shelters where they can continue treatment in the event of war. And Israel's health ministry has instructed medical centers to be ready for 2 to 4 weeks of conflict if necessary. Wow, guys, 2 to 4 weeks of conflict. And the Wall Street Journal has confirmed that Iran rejected all core U.S. demands in the latest round of nuclear negotiations in Geneva. And a senior Iranian official says that Iran offered to temporarily pause enrichment, but rejected the idea of permanently ending enrichment or transferring its stockpile of enriched uranium abroad. And U.S. Navy Admiral Brad Cooper, who oversees troops in the Middle East as head of U.S. Central Command, briefed President Trump on Thursday on potential military operations in Iran, according to a person close to the president. So the CENTCOM commander briefed Trump on Thursday. And the Iranian Armed Forces spokesman said any unwise American action will lead to a full-scale firestorm in the region. And Israel's security establishment is examining the possibility that Tehran is preparing to activate the entire axis of evil against Israel. Israel's debating whether Iran has a quote-unquote doomsday order, a directive that would simultaneously unleash Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, and allied militias to fire everything at once with a single go. Wow. And we're hearing reports that across Iran, satellite broadcasts of Iran International are being jammed by the Iranian regime, and a lot of other satellite-based TV stations from the UAE that broadcast in Iran are being jammed now. So that's very interesting. And Israel launched miscellaneous strikes on Hezbollah targets yesterday, and they also hit a missile depot. So these sound like preventative strikes that Israel is carrying out. So this way, Hezbollah doesn't have weaponry to attack Israel once the attack on Iran begins. And the senior spokesperson for Iran's armed forces, Brigadier General Shakarchi, responded to Trump's remarks, calling them baseless and delusional, warning that in any confrontation, U.S. forces and assets in the region would be destroyed and all American interests would be within range of Iranian fire. Wow. And the Wall Street Journal reported that Iran warned it would treat even a limited U.S. strike as a trigger for an all-out response. And House Democrats, led by Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, plan to force a vote next week on a war powers resolution that would block Trump from attacking Iran without congressional approval. So this could prompt Trump to start the war. Okay, if they're going to vote on a war powers resolution next week, then Trump's not stupid. He's just going to start the war this weekend. Okay. And an Israeli security source said that they expect a surge in American military personnel arriving in Israel over the next few days. Wow. And what you're looking at here are the latest satellite images from Israel showing the U.S. F-22s. These were taken today by the Chinese satellite Mazar Vision, and you can see what appear to be 9 F-22s sitting on the runway here, or sorry, not the runway, but this little staging area. And then you can see 4 on this runway here. So they actually moved them around. It's possible that they were just doing some test flights, you know, brushing the dust off, fine-tuning their avionics, making sure everything is good to go, loading up their weapons before they actually strike. But here you can see 4 on the runway today. And then here you can see a picture of all these U.S. refuelers parked at the Ben Gurion International Airport. So it looks like Ben Gurion International Airport in Israel is going to be turned into a major base for the U.S., okay? And Russia and Belarus are using underground tunnels to smuggle migrants into Europe, according to the British newspaper The Telegraph. And the FAA closed airspace around Fort Hancock, Texas on Thursday, as military laser-based anti-drone systems were believed to have accidentally shot down a U.S. government drone. Interesting. And Pakistan and Afghanistan are in an all-out war right now. The Pakistan Minister of Defense announced yesterday that Pakistan is in an open war with Afghanistan, saying it will be full confrontation, accusing Afghanistan of becoming a colony of India. And the Afghan Taliban spokesman told Tasnim News that Taliban forces killed 55 Pakistani soldiers in overnight attacks and are holding 23 bodies of Pakistani troops. He said some Pakistani personnel were captured alive and that 2 large Pakistani military bases were destroyed. He also stated that 19 small outposts along the Durand Line border were completely destroyed and that 2 Pakistani tanks were knocked out during the operation. Wow, 19 outposts. And the Pakistani Air Force has been continuously conducting airstrikes on Taliban targets in the Khost and Paktika regions of Afghanistan. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with a live update and live coverage. We could potentially see this all kicking off as soon as this weekend. So tune in later on tonight, probably around 10 p.m. Eastern Time, maybe 11. And until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video.